don't discount your successes, number one. That's a very common thing. A lot of guys are like, oh, my success is just that it seemed like everything went my way. Well, no shit. The ones where everything went against you, you failed. The ones where things went your way, you succeeded. But you still had to have skill once it was going your way, and to keep it going your way, and to get it going your way in the first place, right? You still have to do things right. Well, so here's what happens. As you develop more skill, it just happens more often. Okay. And a lot of your times that it works out, it will seem like it just happens. It'll seem like I got lucky, because you did. Okay. You did get lucky to an extent, right? There's a range of possible scenarios you're gonna be put in. Some are easier or harder. And yes, of course, you're gonna close the easier ones more often than the harder ones. But as you get better and better, a greater number of scenarios become easier, right? It used to be that when I didn't know game, right? For me to attract a girl, I have to have her be in my class, have it be a class that I'm good at, have me be the only attractive guy in the class, have me luckily get sat next to her, and then, some other random things. And then even then it wouldn't happen because I wouldn't make the move, I wouldn't close, etc. Now, I get put, there's a girl sitting by herself with no one around, that's all the opportunity I need. That's oh, I got lucky. Oh, she didn't have friends around? That's, oh my God, jackpots. Right? So the level of how good I need things to be for it to become easy for me, it becomes, a much wider array of situations that we'll fall into. But of course, the ones that work out, they seem easier than the ones that don't work out. Of course, if you get a good open, the whole rest of the set gets easier. It's how it is, right? If someone opens for you, you come in with social proof, the whole rest of the set gets easier. If the girl sees you with another girl and gets interested and comes over to you, which will happen, the whole rest of the set gets easier. Doesn't mean it's easy though. There's plenty of situations where a guy's in a club, girl comes over and opens him, and he fucks up and doesn't take her home. Happens all the time. So just because you had it going well at some point doesn't mean that number one, that you didn't earn it some way. Number two, it doesn't mean that everything's just automatically gonna fall into place, right? You still have to do work. And a lot of the work in game is after attraction. A lot of good game is not fucking up good situations. Also, just on a personal level, the people who succeed at things and people who don't succeed at things, how they attribute their successes and failures makes a huge difference in their success. Guys who fail at game, they tend to, when things go well, they discount it. Oh, it was just luck, I didn't do anything, etc. And then when things go bad, they're like, oh, I suck, I fucked it up, or whatever, and they take it very personally, right? Guys that do really well in game, when things go well, they're like, it's because I'm awesome. I earned that, I did that, and they're proud of it and they feel it. And then when things go badly, they don't abdicate responsibility, but okay, I fucked this and this up. I'll fix that next time. And then they're done with it, right? They don't ruminate on it and think I'm a loser or I fucked up or I can't do this. They're like, oh yeah, I messed this and this up. I'll get that next time, right? That's the mentality of winning. Mentality is when you succeed, own it. And take that onto your identity and take that onto your self-perception because you did earn it. You did a good job. And trust me, you always earn it.
So did you see the scenario over here I was talking about? So yeah, so the guy was kind of pseudo hitting on him, trying to use the dog as a crutch. But he's done, he's gonna walk off. Let him get far enough away that he's not gonna just jump in obnoxiously. But I think you're gonna be good here in a second.
The salesman is like, please, please, please buy. And he'll get it from there are certain people that just are gonna buy no matter what and they'll buy from him. But then the salesman that does really well as the salesman is like, look, I know my product's good. You should buy it. If you don't, I'll tell you all the reasons you should buy it. But if you don't, it's fine. Someone else will. And we're not.
So you're not even trying.
We're not worried about. We're not worried about selling. In fact, if anything, we're gonna be out of stock soon. You can buy it. I suggest you do. It'll be good for you. But you know what I mean? I don't need the sale. I'm trying to help you here. Okay. Right? That's the vibe they have. One vibe I like to have on the open is I call it the hello old friend vibe, right? You just act like you've known them for years and you expect a really good response. And oftentimes because you expect that good response, you get that good response. And you don't even have to be super, super loud, but you're loud enough because if you're greeting an old friend, you're not going to be hesitant or low voice or anything like that. All right, so that's one really good kind of attitude and mentality and vibe you can have on the open. And so again, not just loud, but loud with the right vibe. Another decent vibe you can have is I call it the bouncer vibe, right? So
A lot of times guys complain in a loud club, I can't get her attention, the girl doesn't hear me, etc. But the one person who everybody responds to and everybody listens to is the bouncer, right? The bouncer gets attention. Not because he has some special technique, but because he believes he deserves it and he knows he has authority, and so he acts super fucking loud. You can say, hey, excuse me, in the way that like a bouncer or a police officer would say like, excuse me, sir, right? It's like people respond to that tone of voice, right? And you can have, if you have that sort of, hey, excuse me, like, right? Everybody listens. I do this outside sometimes where like I'll do this with students, like you say it like this, and then like some random person turns like, what? like it's like 5 feet, 10 feet away. Because they just assume like you must be talking to them, but they're like they're programmed from like birth that like when someone sounds authoritative like that, you turn and you look. So that's another vibe you can do. And there's a time and a place where that might be better. In a louder nightclub, that may be a better way to go. If you're planning on doing an approach maybe that goes very hot, or you're planning on doing an approach that's more harsh in nature, like that's your idea, then maybe you go with more of that one instead of the hello old friend kind of vibe, right? So that's a second approach you can take. That's just, it is loud, but it also is loud with a certain idea or tonality or frame behind it. And so it's not just volume, it's volume plus vibe. Right? One other one, and this one's a little harder to explain, but that I will do. Sometimes I just do it because I get in a good mood, or sometimes I force myself into this mood. But I will just be like particularly cocky, right? So I'll force myself physically to smirk. And then like by smirking, it puts me in a smirky mood in a way, right? And I'll just walk around and be like, I'm the shit, I'm amazing. You know I'm hot, right? And I'll just kind of like act that way a little bit and get myself going that way. Another thing that I do actually, so there are different nights that I have on programs. Some nights I have on program where I start doing approaches way at the start of the night. Other nights I have the students do a lot of approaches, and then it gets to like 2 hours, 3 hours into the night, and I haven't done an approach yet. And I'm like very cold, and I'm like, oh fuck, all right, here we go. And one thing that I'll do is I'll actually literally physically stretch. Like I'll just be like, right? And then by doing that, it makes me feel like more loose, more relaxed. Like right now, I feel more loose than I did a second ago. And that makes it easier for me to do an approach, right? So all those little things, and that goes along with the cocky thing, like stretch, and then it's easier to be like, I know I'm the shit. Right, when you're all tense and tight and like with last night I did like the yoga thing, I'm freezing, I walk inside, I'm like so I'm like loosen up a little bit again. But yeah, all of those are different vibes, right? So one is I'm loose, I'm relaxed, I'm the shit, I know I'm amazing. The other is hello old friend, I'm friendly, I expect good vibes from. The other is like the bouncer policeman vibe. And all three are totally workable, right? All three will get you attention, and there are three very different approaches to how you get attention. And you can do whatever feels most appropriate to you in that moment, whatever you're feeling closest to, or whatever is most appropriate to the situation. So for example, in day game in the park, hello old friend makes a lot of sense, right? In a loud nightclub, especially with crazy shit going on, the bouncer thing makes a lot of sense, right? Also in a loud nightclub, the cocky thing makes a lot of sense, because what you can do with that is you walk around and you kind of like smirk and make eye contact, and you may actually get some semi-warm approaches off of that. You may get a girl to like respond or give you eye contact back, and then you jump in. Especially like if I want like I almost don't want to teach you guys this, because it's an okay habit if you're advanced. It's a bad habit if you're not advanced, but I'll tell it to you, but just like with grains of salt, okay? If I ever do want to ease into the night, like I don't want to make it hard for myself to do that first approach or something like that, and this is again good and bad because I don't want you to use this as a crutch, but it's useful, is I'll just like take a lap through the club, and I'll just smirk and like try and make eye contact with the girls, and I won't even worry about opening. But probably as I walk through the club, some girl will make eye contact, and then I can open off the eye contact, and that way it's a semi warm approach, semi warm, semi cold, instead of totally cold approach for my first one. And oftentimes once you've had that first approach, it gets a lot easier from there, right? You guys absolutely can use that. I don't want you to use that as a crutch, because I don't want you to ever think that like I can't do the first approach without getting warmed up, or that like you need eye contact to approach or something like that. So I don't want you to use that as a crutch. It's useful, but please, please, please make sure that at least most nights when you go out, you don't do that as your first thing. But you can do it occasionally, right? But it's another fun thing to do. It's also a fun thing to do or a useful thing to do get re-warmed up. Like let's say you were in some approaches for a while, and then for whatever reason you weren't, and you just want to like get back in the vibe, walk around, smirk a little bit, make some eye contact, etc. You can make eye contact, look at girls like just give them a look. And then if they respond like, what? All right, fine, I'll talk to you. Sometimes when you're opening and it's not working, you feel like you're forcing it,
And you especially get like caught up in, oh, my last few approaches didn't go well, I'm going to really make this one work. And now it's even more needy and a little more forceful. A lot of a good opening comes from relaxing. So relaxing and working on just projecting the right vibe and saying, I don't care if this works, but I'm going to make sure that I project a good vibe. I'm just going to relax and have fun.